News update. I'm Tim Gordon. We're going to go up to Longview now, where officials are holding a press conference in Southwest Washington regarding that deadly chemical tank collapse of yesterday morning. Let's get right to them.
And then Congresswoman Guzman-Perez, and then Chief Amos and I will come back up and do the question and answer process like we did yesterday for those that were here with us yesterday afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm Scott Goldstein, SCOTT-GOLDSTEIN, Fire Chief with Cowlitz 2 Fire Rescue. I want to acknowledge again the tremendous support that we have received from our state and regional and federal partners, but more specifically, the tremendous impact that this incident continues to have on the victims, the families, the co-workers, my responders, all the agency's responders, and the broader community. Understand that there are members working the site tirelessly that have lost co-workers, lost friends, and they remain dedicated to focusing on our recovery efforts. I want to switch into an operational update. I want to outline that recovery efforts started after our operations on Tuesday. We have declared this incident a transition from rescue to recovery as of this morning. We declared this incident a transition from rescue to recovery as of this morning. As I outlined yesterday evening, we had structural issues, safety concerns of some of the mechanical and industrial equipment on site. While we were talking to you yesterday afternoon, assessments were ongoing, additional information was provided that started to address those concerns. That continued this morning. Drone operations were done. Additional information was determined, and we began operations today. I want to make it clear that based upon the entirety of the scene safety and the stability of our concerns is how we approach our incident here, not because of our staffing levels, nor of the personal protective equipment and the availability of that equipment. I talked last evening about roughly 90,000 gallons of product remaining in that tank. Further observation this morning from plant officials identified that amount is at the most of roughly 25,000 gallons, and that the tank was stable in its position and alleviated the predominance of our concerns of the tank failing. We still have contingency plans in place and resources coming to work on the tank itself if we need to change to stabilizing and removing the tank. Environmental monitoring. Representatives from the Washington State Department of Ecology and the United States Environmental Protection Agency remain on scene assisting public health, public utilities, and our diking districts on the issues of environmental monitoring and mitigation operations. Throughout the evening last night, both fixed and portable air monitoring and water quality sampling was occurring. pH, or the acidity level of a liquid, testing of water samples has confirmed contamination entered the Columbia River during the day yesterday. Additional evaluations are underway to better understand the scope and extent of that environmental impact. At this time, there continue to be no identified negative health impacts to the to the surrounding air quality or the city of Longview's drinking water system. The public is still asked to avoid the road network here as different agencies and the large equipment are continuing to come to the scene, as well as the dike and ditches around this area. Signage was put up by our environmental partners last night that provides signing on site. Now I'm going to turn things over, as with yesterday, to Battalion Chief Matt Amos with the Longview Fire Department.
Thank you, Chief. My name's Matt Amos, Mattamos. I'm the Longview Fire Battalion Chief on site. Recovery efforts began earlier today, and they'll continue to be slow, methodical, and deliberate. The priority is ensuring responder safety while treating every victim with the greatest dignity, care, and respect as possible. As individuals are recovered from the site, they'll undergo decontamination before being transported to the Cowlitz County Coroner's Office for identification and family notification. The Coroner's Office will release names and provide additional family information only after all individuals have been recovered, properly identified, and family notifications are complete. The victim update, as of this afternoon, 9 individuals remain unrecovered. 7 employees remain hospitalized with injuries. The firefighter that was injured during response has been released from the hospital and has follow-up appointments through the following days. We can also confirm that 1 individual transported from the scene on Tuesday succumbed from their injuries, bringing the total number of confirmed fatalities to 2 of those transported. Operational conditions, it still remains active and it's extremely hazardous in the recovery environment. Recovery operations will continue as the conditions safely allow. It continues to be incredibly difficult for us on the incident and everybody that's involved. We appreciate the professionalism of the responders working this operation and the patience and support everyone has shown. At this time, I'd like to turn things over to our Governor, Bob Ferguson.
Thank you all for being here. I'd like to start by echoing our deep appreciation for the brave and important work of our first responders who are operating under extremely challenging circumstances, and we appreciate their service during this really difficult time. We're bracing ourselves for this being the deadliest industrial tragedy in modern Washington state history. When you have a tragedy of that scale, the impacts on individuals, on families, and on communities is profound. I want to extend my deepest condolences to those who have been directly impacted by the loss of a loved one during this extraordinarily challenging time. This is a resilient community. We have certainly seen that in the response to this tragedy. I certainly saw that last night at the vigil, and we're going to need every ounce of that resiliency in the weeks, months, and years ahead. I also want to emphasize that the coordination between agencies and between governments is very strong, and we would expect nothing less, but I know when I see that level of cooperation, that is certainly happening here, and I deeply appreciate everybody's hard work to make sure we're dealing with the challenges in front of us. I just want to provide a very brief update on state resources that are being deployed to assist. I'll keep this very brief. Today we have 46 members of the Washington National Guard on site. That includes 10 civil support team members currently working to support the Department of Ecology on air monitoring. To reemphasize the results of that testing so far, which I think was mentioned before, but it bears repeating, those results show no evidence of airborne contamination. We will, of course, continue to monitor over the coming days. We also have 20 members of the Homeland Response Force who will assist with decontamination. We have 8 members of Fatality Search and Rescue to assist with recovery. We're thankful to those members of the National Guard and to other members of the National Guard who are on site assisting in a variety of ways. The Department of Health is also on site working with the local health department on a public health assessment, and their mass fatality coordinator is assisting the coroner and area hospitals. The State Department of Ecology remains on site. They continue to test water quality and working with federal partners and the company to make a plan to remove white liquor from the site. We have recovered approximately 12 carp from the dikes that have died. L&I will be meeting with injured workers and the families of those killed to help them understand and access the benefits that they are entitled to. Our State Employment Security Department has activated its rapid response team and has reached out to both the company and the union that represents the workers here. the Association of Western Pipe and Paper Workers to offer resources. Again, I just want to conclude by saying how much I appreciate the tremendously coordinated efforts that are going on, the bravery of our first responders, and on behalf of the people of the state of Washington, we'll just repeat what I said last night is the state is here and will be here as long as it takes to support the families, support victims, support folks impacted by this tragedy for as long as it takes. We're committed to that, as all of our partners are. With that, I want to turn it over to the Congresswoman.
Good afternoon. First responders, emergency workers, and nurses saw unthinkable horrors yesterday, and I am encouraged by how people are checking in on each other. We saw last night at the vigil, and we've seen throughout today, we need to pull together to get the answers that we need here. If you're not in a trades family or a mill family, it can be hard to understand how devastating an industrial accident like this is for a mill town like Longview. Folks here have watched mill after mill close across the state, always wondering if their plant or job is next. And today that fear has reached new heights as people wonder if this accident will be the last straw for a viable mill and the first step towards closures. The mill workers I've talked to want full accountability. They want a comprehensive, unbiased investigation into how this could have happened so the failures can be addressed, so we can have safe jobs, come home to our families at night, and rebuild public trust. This is their lives. This is their land. This is their livelihoods. And the reality is we've watched as financial interests have squeezed all the grease out of the system, and it starts a death spiral. Layoffs, some electeds parachute in and layer on more regulation as a backstop, and companies struggle to keep up and invest in lawyers when we should have investment in infrastructure and mill equipment. And sometimes we see workers left holding the bag, enduring more layoffs and forced into overtime. And we can't be blind to these pressures as we look for answers. And we can't look past the grief. It is so easy to look past the pain and suffering here and try to solve problems before we understand the depth of loss here. And so I'm so grateful for the team here who's remained doggedly focused on recovery and the safety and security of our land and our families and our community as we endure an unthinkable tragedy. And with that, I'll turn it over to Chief Goldstein and Amos.